time, we're gonna celebrate. You're gonna do that one? You're gonna request that one for the disc from the DJ in the
Remember
booth?
the DJs, the disc jockeys? Are we live now?
I think we're live.
I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
know.
pretty
You're talking
sure.
about DJs and all sorts of crazy things. I don't know what you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about because you don't want to talk about it. Is that everybody? Welcome back to the FiveStack. My very dear friend Zev Shalev. He and I live different lives. Listen, you might look at the screen and look at that handsome hunk of a man, that professional investigative reporter, one of the world's greatest television producers, CBS up here, down in the States, Canada,
Don't
global
believe anything he
CBC.
says from now on, everybody. Don't believe a word he says.
I want you to listen to every word I'm going to say. I want you to believe all of it.
No.
Here's the deal. I am such a homebody. There are days where I never leave. And on a Friday night, I have a dinner meeting I got to go to. I got a doctor's appointment as soon as we're done here. On a Friday night, there's nothing I look forward to more than getting into my house before the crazies come out, getting into my bed, turning on my TV, being by myself, maybe smoking some cannabis, and watching 2 to maybe 3 hours of television. That is a perfect Friday night to me. Now, Zev's perfect Friday night, because I said to him, I started singing before we started, folks, just let you in on a little friendship here. Zev he likes the nightlife sometimes. He likes to boogie.
Very rarely, I should say, I like the nightlife. But, sometimes
like
I don't mind going out and dancing. I don't mind. I grew up in the club world, like a lot of our viewers. We were kids of the club scene. Did you ever go to clubs? You must have gone to clubs.
One more time, like
the
12
same
times.
age. We're the same age.
We're the same age, but I was never a club guy. I don't know what it is. I think it's my OCD when I go into places and my PTSD when I get in. It's like an assault. It's like an assault on my eardrums, and it's like you see all these people that nobody knows each other. Everybody's dressed to the nines. People, covering their hands with their drinks. They were doing that when I was like 19, 20 years old, and I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we dancing?
We're dancing.
You can't fucking understand each other. You can't.
You like
interpretive.
Fighting. I like dancing. It's just a different way of viewing the world. It's just we have different perspectives.
Well, I'm going to Pilates tonight. That's like my excitement, and then I'm going to go.
That sounds lovely and peaceful and really good. You're also going to
Fallout.
Yeah, that's good. I'll probably stay home by the time I'm done work tonight, which is always way too late.
Probably not going to go out.
I'm probably going to land up just crashing.
Are you sure you don't want to go to the club? Sorry, the club, and ask the DJ to play some of those sweet hits tonight, so you can get your groove on.
What do you call a sweet hit? Was that the one you just sang us there?
One more time.
They don't play that anymore. They don't play that to my.
How bizarre!
Chagrin.
How bizarre! Do they do that one?
No, they don't do that anymore. That time is gone. There's a whole new era of music out there, from like the 2000 onwards. You should check out.
I doubt it. I've been to a club a couple times, and when Tupac's California Love would come on, I'd be like, okay, this is my jam.
That was number one in the radio in here in Toronto. He was the number one DJ.
For 15 years.
Well, of course, you
never
go
went
out because you had to be up like 4 o'clock in the morning all the time. That's what I had to do.
Morning
shows are my death of my nightlife, so I'm always trying to reclaim them.
No, nightlife's bad. If you're up past 11 o'clock, nothing good happens. I need a solid 8 to 9 hours sleep. Like, do you see this fresh face? You see this? You see
beautiful.
this?
It's a beautiful face.
See this? This is 9 hours of sleep. I haven't felt this good in a long time.
Yeah, you look amazing.
Yeah. I'm what we call one of them old losers that likes to go to bed early with a sleepy time tea. I'm in my sleepy time era.
See, I like to
on Friday and Saturday.
I like to write at night. That's my quiet zone. It's so chill, and I can just I can finally get some stuff done. Anyhow, I'm sure people have much bigger interest in.
No, I think people dig this. I really do.
Really?
Yeah, I think people. Well, because we never talk about ourselves. We never talk about our personal lives, right?
I try to avoid that as much as possible in general in life. I try not to get on cameras here and talk about my personal life. It's just sort of.
Well, you should.
It's my training.
Your vulnerabilities endear you to your audience. I don't know if you know that. I share that with you as a very successful former broadcaster on the old radio. But let me say this too, or just one more question: what are you going to wear if you go out? Something
probably
sequin?
I wear the same thing wherever I go, which is like a black t-shirt and jeans.
It's like the uniform.
Because when you've reached a certain age, there's only one thing you can wear and you're a man. I think that's it. I mean, there's really not much else you could do. You don't want to wear anything colorful or
no.
No. I think it's
latex.
No, I don't do anything of that. Anything like that. No. I just like nice, breathable. either bamboo or cotton T-shirts that I can sweat in comfortably, and jeans. Those are the things.
So you can do this. Are you going to pop bottles tonight? Is that what you're going to do? Pop
I can
bottles?
dance. I can dance. I just love dancing. I've always loved dancing. I'm sorry, it's not a
Are you a good
sin to
dancer?
dance. I'm a really good dancer. I think I'm a good dancer. Probably people don't think I'm a good dancer, but I like dancing.
I'm the worst. I am so embarrassing to watch dance. Like even at my partner, we were at a wedding recently, and she's like, "Let's dance," and I love this woman to bits, and I'm like, "Yeah, Daddy doesn't dance."
You should give it a whirl. It's just like connecting with your inner self and like letting yourself express yourself.
No, I look like I'm having a seizure.
Okay, well then,
you don't need it.
We don't need it. Maybe we do. I don't know. We'll find out. One day we'll meet in person and we can actually do that and we can actually dance.
This is what you get.
Dance, everybody. It's dance time. Didn't Ellen DeGeneres used to do that?
I don't remember. I never watched. Did she? I've never. I am one of very few people who's never watched 1 second of the Ellen DeGeneres television program.
Didn't miss a thing. But she used to have a dance minute at the start of her show. Should we do the top 5 news stories of the day?
Probably time to get into it, Zev. Where do you want to start today, my friend? And by the way, housekeeping, hit the Chiron at the top, little gray Chiron left-hand side. You can follow both of us, subscribe to both of us, paid subs, get this to the top of the algorithm. So please, if you can, great, 25% off annual here. Zev is incredibly affordable, some of the best writing. We'll get to what we've got coming up on our Substack channels coming up a little later on in the show. But if you could hit that Chiron and follow us both, we'd greatly appreciate it. Paid subs, again, awesome, perfect. Free subs, even better. Sharing, hammering those hearts, hitting that arrow with the box underneath it right in the bottom right-hand corner, as we're going to have some conversations today that unmask some dickheads and tell you the truth. So well worth your time today. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, even though I've been carrying the conversation for so long already. I apologize.
I just let you go. I just enjoy everything you have to say. It's always good.
Thanks, buddy.
The big story of the day remains what's going on in Minneapolis, and there's developments in that story of the shooting and killing of Rebecca Good, who is the wife of the victim in this case. The person who was murdered has released a statement. We're going to show you some of that statement. We don't have the full statement. We've got some other portions of it. But as this all has been developing this afternoon, we've got a new tweet from the vice president, and I don't have it in front of me, but I'll pull it up quickly, where he's saying, J.D. Vance is saying, watch this. As hard as it is, many of you have been told this law enforcement officer wasn't hit by a car, wasn't being harassed and murdered an innocent woman. The reality is that his life was endangered and he fired in self-defense. Then he posts this video from Alpha News, which is a news organization you've never heard of, but nevertheless has got over 1 million views now.
It's news for alpha males, everybody.
Okay, there you go. It's no wonder I don't get it. And it's the first-hand perspective of the officer who's doing the shooting. As he's videotaping on his phone, by the way, while also then shooting the victim in this case. It's not actually taking here. So let me see why it won't play. Let me try.
Terrible job of multitasking. If you see this video, we'll set it up for you. J.D. Vance put it out again. This is the officer, Jeffrey Ross's camera angle. If you remember correctly, he was wearing a body cam, or at least recording with his phone in the video, right? So what we have here is the officer getting out of the car, driver's side, walking up to the door of the woman's car. Renee Nicole Good. Say her name, friends. Say her name over and over and over again. This is going to be the rallying cry. She's got a smile on her face. She's basically telling, "What are you doing? I'm just letting these guys through. Why don't you guys just leave the neighborhood? You're causing problems." Walks around the car a couple times. And is recording and pulling his gun at the same time that he shoots her. And the reason why he lost control of the phone, and J.D. Vance is trying to pass this off as, oh, that's when he got hit. The reason why he lost control of his phone is because he stumbled to get out of the way, even though he was probably a foot away from the car as she backed up. And then when she pulled forward, he moved further back and got completely out of the way, never got run over. So it destroys Donald Trump and Kristi Noem's whole, the officer's recovering in the hospital with injuries. He's going to be just fine.
It doesn't help their argument very much, but it also raises a whole lot of new questions. Now, keep in mind, what they've done is they've cropped this video to just the parts that they liked. I did an analysis on this. I'm not even sure the entire audio has been kept on this track. It may be that some of the audio has been removed. But let's take a look at this. Let's see what happens here.
Do you have the audio?
Oh, you're not getting the audio there.
No.
Boy.
No worries. It'd be nice to hear what Nicole says because she's in no way intimidating and she is in no way threatening anybody. Renee, it would be wonderful if she's now
Yeah,
lost.
I just had a real problem putting this on the air in the first place. So you know what?
No worries.
Let's get back to it in a second. I'm going to see if I can get the right thing, and then we'll get back to it because
keep it going. Keep it going, and then we'll see if we can get the audio because the police officer in question, he's talking to a woman who is legal observer. She's basically saying, "I'm recording you." You can hear them telling her to leave. She then moves. That's the scene of the crime right there. That's when she moves, backs up, takes off. He fires a couple shots, kills.
I just lost it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay. No worries.
Yeah, no,
it kills a woman.
There's a lot going on today. So keep going. You like talking. Keep doing it.
Yeah,
and
no, please. Because as we get the audio is very important here. Because if it was fucked with, they didn't fuck with that enough, and if they fucked with the video, they didn't fuck with that enough either. Because it still shows, no matter how hard JD Vance stumps for absolute immunity for this gentleman, Jonathan Ross, the 43-year-old man who murdered Renee Nicole Good in cold blood. No matter how much he tells them they all have immunity to go out and do this, they don't. And the video that he put out, not only is it cropped, but it is highly suggestive, meaning there is still no proof. And way more proof. There's no proof that Miss Good ran over the officer, Jeffrey Ross, with her car. There are 40 other videos, and we're getting ring videos from cameras across the street that prove beyond the shadow of a doubt, without any hesitation, that Renee Nicole Good did not hit, run over, or target Jeffrey Ross, the ICE officer who killed her in cold blood.
Try again. See if this works. Hopefully it does. We're not getting, you're getting echoes?
No, nothing.
Okay. Can you hear this?
No.
Okay, then I don't know.
No, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
but let's watch it. Let's just watch it. This is the Jeffrey Ross. You can see him come to the front of the car. Then he walks around the back of the car. So he's putting himself in behind the car and in front of the car, right? And I think, it's funny because I was talking to a police officer friend of mine. There he goes around the car. He's getting called a fucking loser by a legal observer. Clearly he is. He murdered a woman in cold blood. He then grabs his phone and his camera. He starts recording her. Goes around to the front of the car. Here we go. She backs up to avoid him and then goes around him. He shoots her twice. There isn't an angle of this video that proves that man was in any imminent danger of being attacked. Everything that Donald Trump and Kristi Noem and the state regime known as the Trump regime is telling you about what happened here is a fucking lie. And it follows a process, and we'll get to that process in a minute because 2 more people were shot in cold blood in Portland, Oregon by ICE officers yesterday, and it was the same process, the same excuse, the same justification, and again, with absolutely no evidentiary proof that the 2 people in Portland were members of a Venezuelan gang. The Tren de Agua, or whatever it's called, Tren de Agua, I can't remember the name of it. And then there is absolutely no proof that Miss Good was a no-good radical left lunatic who got training, as Kristi Noem said, to use her car as a weapon, and she's a domestic terrorist. So unless we see proof of that.
I got some interesting things about this video. I think, firstly, the person doing the original videotaping, that's Rebecca, Renee's wife, who's outside the car at the time. And she is doing what we all thought she was doing. These are, people exercising their First Amendment rights. They're absolutely allowed to be in the face of anybody they want, shooting video or saying whatever they want on the public streets of America. It's completely just legal. It's the
First
law
Amendment,
of the land.
Not the second, not the third. It's their First Amendment right.
Yeah. So everyone is allowed to do that in the United States. And what you're seeing there and what they're trying to predicate this whole argument about is that Rebecca and Renee was somehow threatening the lives of these ICE agents by videotaping them or by saying, go get lunch. The one person says, at least Renee's heard saying, I don't hate you, dude, or I'm not, there's nothing in there that would include any reason to go after anybody with such force. So, on the face of it, the one thing that, that they're arguing is that these leftists, liberals are out there doing, domestic terrorism by creating a situation of violence against these ICE agents. That ain't happening. If this is what they're calling people stoking violence and creating violence against ICE agents, what the president of the United States does every day to us is definitely stoking violence. I mean, it's the nicest form of violence I've ever come across. They're just merely saying what they have on their minds. They're allowed to do it. They're allowed to protect their neighborhood. They're allowed to do anything they want on the public streets. What someone is not allowed to do as an ICE agent is shoot someone 3 times through the window of their car for no reason at all. On the one hand, he's got a video camera, a cell phone, so he's shooting this. Why is a ICE agent making video? Is he a correspondent?
For the gram, dude. For the gram.
Or is he a correspondent for Alpha News? Is he getting this for posterity? Is he, does he know there'll be a paycheck on the other side of this because someone's going to buy that video from him and he's going to be a big star and a big hero? Or is there any other good reason for him to have a camera, personal cell phone shooting video? None. So he's out there looking for business, obviously. He's looking for some scene. Otherwise, he wouldn't be shooting this. He wouldn't be taking his cell phone camera and saying, let me see what I can get. He's looking for the news headline. He's looking for the get. And then they're so nice, even in their, supposedly sarcastic, whatever you want to call it. I mean, they're so lovely, these two people, in the way they're objecting to this. They obviously no harm to anybody. They get surrounded by 3 thugs, encircled by 2 vehicles, and they can't move out. And they got their dog in the back seat. They just dropped off their son at school. They're doing nothing in any way to harm them. And you can see that they're getting increasingly threatened by these ICE agents that are surrounding them. And then you see Renee Good just at one point, as they're saying, get out of the car, and grabbing the handle bar of the car, that they get so frightened that she drives away. Mm-hmm. And so her wife sees her.
Masked guys with guns with no jurisdiction, roaming the streets looking for brown people, threatening you to get out of your car. After, and I don't know if you noticed this, at the start of the video, and every angle will show it, with the exception of the ones on the right-hand side behind the trees. Every angle will show it, is Miss Good, the truck that pulled up and ended up emptying out these ICE officers, including Jeffrey Ross, the one that shot her. She backed up and waved them through, and they didn't go through. They got out of the car. But before that, another ICE vehicle, a Suburban, went through. She waved them through, tried to wave the next group through, and they weren't having it. So even from Jump Street, she was trying to say, go ahead, even though she was parked sideways across the road. What she was doing was trying to make it more difficult for them to move. She wasn't intimidating them. She wasn't threatening them. She wasn't using her car as a fucking weapon. And when you watch the original part of that video, any video, that's what she does. She reaches her hand out. She's like, go ahead. And then they get out and they start badgering.
I think we can watch it now. Hang on a second.
Yeah, let's watch this. Oh, this is the angle. There you go. This is them getting out of their car. She waves them through.
There's the dog.
She wants nothing to do with it. There's the dog. Oh, yeah.
This person at
the cherries will help. Listen.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking president. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
There you go. J.D. Vance posted that somehow in his mind, and in the the U.S. government's mind, that this was going to absolve Jeffrey Ross of any wrongdoing.
Yeah, it does nothing. It doesn't do any of that.
It makes it worse. It makes it worse because it shows
Miss Good,
very calm, not imminent.
Yeah,
not
she's
a threat.
not her hands out. She's not holding onto a weapon. He goes and checks her license plate, by the way. Why is he doing that? Is he checking to see who it is because he wants to make sure he's got the right people? Because I still find it really weird that this is the same guy that was in a ramming incident, dragged by another person completely in the Twin Cities a few months ago. I mean, what's the likelihood of that, Dean? And what's the likelihood of there being a of this only one big incident in Minneapolis. And he's the guy that's on the scene for this thing, which looks to me now more and more like a revenge killing than anything else.
Yeah.
Because if this is what they were doing, and I'll take this part of the testimony correct. That is correct. They were probably out there doing this ICE watch thing that people are doing around the country, which is basically protecting their neighbors by exercising their First Amendment rights. It's a perfectly legal thing to do. If they were doing this, then there's no ways that the officer and all these other ICE agents had no idea who that was. They knew exactly who was in the car. They've been tracking them all day. So they knew what they were going for. And then they sent the trigger-happy guy, the guy who had still traumatized from his dragging incident a few months ago, into the scene. Into like
his
the hardest,
previous terrible job of doing that job where he got beat up and dragged by a Venezuelan and
terrible thing that happened to him. It's awful that it happened to him. But I mean, that is not the person you would assign into a situation like that, knowing his history and knowing that he'd still just recently gotten out of hospital for that. It is your commanders should obviously know that's a bad thing to send that person into that situation. In fact, that person shouldn't be at work probably if this is. So, that's the most favorable interpretation of that is he was the wrong person to send in. But the less favorable one is that maybe that was all part of the plan. Maybe this was like, okay, we're going to get them today. Let's send in the guy who got hit last time and let's revenge it. We're going to show them what it's like. We're going to get those guys for the headlines. Maybe. We want the tension to spark. We want all sorts of things to happen so we can start this campaign of a polarized country. And that explains why you have this narrative afterwards, which J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, Kristi Noem are pushing right away, right out of the fence. Right out of the gate, sorry. The idea that they were so quick to react, Kristi Noem was out with a statement within 20 minutes of the shooting.
Do you remember the statement? Do you have the original statement?
I can get it, but yeah.
This is not funny, but I laugh because it's just so fucking ridiculous. Like, it's bizarro world.
We do nothing quickly.
We live in a sim. When Kristi Noem, it was 17 minutes after the shooting, steps up in Texas somewhere with a fucked up cowboy hat on her, a brand new Mar-a-Lago face, and she was
stage managed.
She goes, this was her original excuse for the cold-blooded murder of Renee Nicole Good. The woman was an agitator, and she was a far-left radical lunatic. She's using her car as a weapon, and she noticed that a couple of police officers were stuck on an ice floe. That's what she said. Stuck in the ice on an ice floe. Ice floes are in the fucking north and the south. Ice floes are pieces of fucking icebergs.
I mean, it's just not. It's so bizarre.
So she says caught in an ice floe, like hung up, and the woman was effectively challenging them with her car and tried to run them over. That's what she said 17 minutes after the shooting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, no one had any information. She didn't have any information. This is pre-scripted. Here's what you do. You go out, you get in front of the story. There's a playbook for it. I'll go over it in just a second. And then in her next availability later on that evening, she's like, she used her car as a weapon. So she dropped the whole stuck in the ice. The cops were being targeted, like they've all been targeted, and there's been this percentage increase in ICE officers being rammed with vehicles. It's not happening. It never happens. America's scared to fucking death. What happens is ICE vehicles and ICE agents ram other cars, and then they shoot people or they detain people, and then Kristi Noem turns around and goes, well, they did it first, and so, we only had one fucking choice.
Yeah,
it's the same story in fucking Portland.
We can listen. We can watch it here. I got it. Just watch her reaction here.
They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of aggression.
Like that was fucking 3 days ago.
Yeah.
17 minutes after it happened, and it's completely fucking fabricated.
Did that video look to you like domestic terrorism? Do these women who
Play
are
it
in
again? Play
Yeah, I
it
mean,
again. Let's
just-
just go over what
it's-
she just said, folks. Let's just go
Yeah.
over what she just said. This is really important.
Yeah.
The officers were stuck in the ice and the snow, and they're trying to dig the car out, and they were targeted by this woman, and she rammed them,
Yeah.
and then tried to run the officer over.
In fact, I'll play it with the video. I'll play it with her
They
voice
got
over
stuck
it.
in
So,
the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic action. They got stuck in the snow because of...
Do you see a police officer in a car stuck in the snow? Do you see it?
no, I see
No.
a police
Clear
officer
roads.
shooting a innocent person who's got her hands out of the car, so he knows that she's got no weapon in there. You see, his wife is being very, I don't see any threatening anything in that. I mean, a cell phone and some saying "Go get your lunch, buddy" is not a threat.
Go get your lunch, big boy. Go
Yeah,
get some
is
lunch.
not a threat to these people. And yet,
Can you imagine if he just was super pissed off at the fat joke?
Yeah,
And
I
he
mean,
shot the woman in the car.
Look, the fact that they're continuing down the line of this ridiculous storyline is beyond belief, and Rebecca, who we saw there in the video, says this about Renee. She says, "We stopped to support our neighbors. We had whistles, they had guns." And then she says of Renee, she sparkled. She was pure sunshine. She was pure love, pure joy. This is a 37-year-old mother of three who was shot there, just dropped off her 6-year-old son at school with their family dog in the back seat, who went to this neighborhood to look out for their neighbors and express their First Amendment rights. And what we have here is a family that's going to be shattered forever, and a son who's lost his mom.
He's an orphan. He
Yeah.
doesn't have a dad. His dad is was a Gold Star Gold Star family guy, a military guy that died serving the United States of America, and they just shot his mom.
Yeah. And so there are vigils today, as there should be, for this woman who is doing exactly what every American citizen should be doing, expressing her rights, doing the kinds of thing that you want Americans to do, because this is what America is great. I mean, America is known for these kinds of acts of heroism, this kind of ability to speak out and stand up for your neighbor and say what you want to say. This is why America is what it is. And for this administration to continue to attack those rights, to kill the citizens in order to make us comply to their dictatorial, ridiculous policies and regime, they're just beyond belief that they are forcing people into it by fear. What is a shooting if not a signal to every American to not make a noise, to not pipe up, to make sure that you always, keep quiet if confronted by authority, because they may just shoot you. Don't speak up too loudly against what we're doing, because we may just kill you. That's the message they're sending Americans.
Yeah. We're watching a cacophony of Trump maggot idiots, usually just white old guys in Congress and the Senate, specifically from the South, go, just comply, everybody.
Yeah.
Just do what you're told. Like that happened today. It happened yesterday. Why? Just stop protesting. Just give Trump what he wants. Like, he's going to make America great. That's not how America works. It's not how America was founded. America was founded and works and became a nation because people decided to stand up to fucking tyranny.
Yeah,
and now tyranny is being revisited on every citizen in the United States. And I want to point this out. I was thinking about it today. We get so caught up in proof, evidence, and listen, the DOJ has none of it. They have no evidence to support their claim that this woman was targeting ICE officers with her vehicle and was threatening him. They've got no evidence to suggest that Jeffrey Ross, the ICE agent, didn't just murder that woman in cold blood. All the evidence to the contrary. Same thing in Portland. A married couple claimed to be these Venezuelan drug kingpins and prostitutes were picked up by police and were shot there as well.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing, the dehumanizing label of calling them a terrorist or calling them a gangbanger or a hooker, calling them illegal. They can't call Miss Good illegal because she's very American, as you could see. And the incredible part to me is the justification of pure, horrific, inhuman behavior by this government. I haven't seen one MAGA senator supportive of Trump and the cold-blooded murder of this woman as a domestic terrorist. I haven't seen one of them go, you know what? I can't talk about it because it makes me too sad. An American woman was shot to death in her car with stuffed animals for her 6-year-old in the front seat in front of her wife with her dog in the back seat for no reason whatsoever. I have seen zero empathy from J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, zero. When they caveat a tweet with, this might be hard to watch, but, and then completely label her as a fucking left-wing terrorist and a domestic terrorist who deserved to die. That tells you all you need to know about who is running the United States of America. It is a cabal of people who do not value human life. It is a cabal of fascist assholes who look at Americans like they are an excuse and a mark for a narrative or for money or to beat up or to create a season of chaos that creates a climate of fear so they can continue to run the game and give themselves power, influence, and money. And that in itself is the saddest part of this, is there has been not one person outside the Democratic Party, including in the Republican Party. I don't give a fuck if it's Lisa Murkowski or Susan Collins or any of those feckless assholes. Nobody in talking about what happened wants to find out what happened on the GOP/Trump regime side, because they don't give a fuck about human life, and they prove it over and over and over again with every statement they make, trying to give this man who killed this woman in cold blood pure immunity, and then putting out tweets saying, don't worry, we got your back. Keep it up out there, everybody. That is fucking gross.
What you're saying there about immunity is so striking, because, you know, this idea that J.D. Vance can stand up there and say they have complete immunity to do this kind of murder is essentially saying what we all know, is that every authoritarian state does this, is they create an SS, a Gestapo, a military force that is responsible and listens only to the leadership of the country and is there to execute their desires on the people of America or that state. I mean, this is what authoritarians do. We are the people. We're in an autocratic state where you get shot for expressing your point of view. You get shot for taking a drive in the street because you may be blocking traffic. You get shot for being opposed to government policy on immigration. That is not the way America functions. It is the way America functions now. But you have to look at that and say, how does that compare to the way America was a year ago? Could I express my rights a year ago against the government policy of immigration? Did Joe Biden send a bunch of thugs out to kill people because they objected to his policy? He didn't do that. We all went to the polls. Maybe people didn't like his immigration policy, so they voted for the other guy. That's the way democracy works. They don't send out a bunch of thugs in masks to kill people. And in this short 1-year span, this administration, this leader, this so-called president, has ripped apart what America stands for, has completely destroyed our democratic values. You know, the primary thing about democracy is you can vote, you can speak your mind, and you're not going to get killed for your points of view. You're going to get good access to justice. And in this case, everything is missing. You know, she can't speak her mind. She can't express her opinion on policy, which, you know, basically takes away ability to vote. The FBI has taken over the investigation and cut out the Minnesota Criminal Bureau there, meaning this investigation is never going to be done. You've got a leadership which is predetermining the justice of the judgment on this case, saying this guy is for sure innocent and it's the woman who's guilty. And then it's their FBI force that are going to be investigating. So you're going to get
you know
nothing.
what? And the insult to our intelligence is that
Yeah.
we can clearly tell none of that is true.
Yeah.
But they continue to run it up the flagpole day after day after day. I can tell you
That is
that's
fascism.
that is fascism.
That
Yes,
is what
sir.
it looks like to be in an autocratic state. We
Yep.
aren't allowed to do any of those things. You don't have the law on your side. You don't have the courts on your side. You don't have the president on your side. You basically are your own, on your own if you're going to do any of these things. And you might be okay, but you may not. You may end up like Renee Good.
You know, the amazing thing about this is I go back to January 6th, watching what happened there. Trump calling them heroes and patriots.
Yeah.
Scaling the walls, taking shit on the floor, killing police officers, breaking windows, threatening to murder every member of Congress, calling them baby killers, and And then when someone stands up to Trump, they get shot in the fucking face twice,
Mhm.
and he calls that lawful, but he calls January 6th the fucking tour of the Capitol building.
Yeah.
By patriots.
Well, you heard what he said to the New York Times today about the only thing that he cares about is his own morality. He doesn't care about the law.
He said it's the only thing stopping him.
Yeah.
The only thing stopping me right now is my own morality. I don't need international law.
He doesn't have morality.
Ugh.
He doesn't have morality.
Yeah, he does. You're seeing it. This is his morality.
But then
He has the morality of a fucking serial killer.
Yeah.
That's what we're watching.
And it's here, and it's happening in front of our eyes, and we can't ignore it because, you look at what happened in Venezuela, you look at what's happened in other countries where this has happened. Ukraine has had to deal with this twice in terms of revolutions. They had to had their treasury completely gutted by Russia. And at the same time as all of this is happening, there are crimes going on to steal as much money as possible from the U.S. taxpayer. There are so many schemes involved that are basically sucking billions and billions of dollars out of the U.S. economy while we're all distracted by this fascist takeover of the country. And this is textbook. This is I can guarantee you, if you go look at the history books, I've done many of this myself. I did it with Olga Lautman. This is what the autocratic descent looks like. This is what it looks like to backslide into authoritarianism. This is where we are.
Let me kind of just read a couple things to you real quick, and then we can move on because I do have a hard out at around 3:30. But there's a process here. It's super visible to everybody that's watching it in real time. There's a template. It's repeatable, scalable, easily. You normalize federal violence, manufacture public fear, justify repression. Step 1, federal violence becomes first. Convenient, malleable facts become second, right? Just do it, and then we'll figure it out later. We'll invent a fucking narrative that makes us look like the heroes. Step 2, you force a civilian reaction. Could be anything. Protests, vigils, mayors demanding answers, communities push back, and then he labels all those people, dehumanizes them, calls them Antifa, and says, okay, we got to go take care of business. Then you get 2,000 ICE Gestapo goons invading Minneapolis and Minnesota. Number 3, dehumanize the victims immediately. That is super fucking important. Renee Nicole Good, she became a domestic terrorist 17 minutes after she was shot, according to Kristi Noem. She's Antifa. Her car was retroactively described as a weapon. We watched it. It's not true. In Portland, 2 people that were shot yesterday, victims instantly labeled Tren de Aragua gang members and prostitutes and illegals. Maybe they were, but they have no fucking proof of any of this. And that's really important when it comes to the entire process. So dehumanizing them immediately as assets or terrible things that are coming for Americans. Step number 4, seize control of the story. Again, 17 minutes after Renee Nicole Good was murdered. What did they do? Told a fucking lie, an incredible lie, seized the narrative of the story. Step number 5, you turn protest into proof, meaning you gin everybody up, you send agitators in, you send more cops in to fucking agitate peaceful protesters. They react, and you go, see, we got to go in. And then you bring more people in. That's step 5. Step 6, normalize immunity. Oh, what did J.D. Vance do from the stump the other day? You have absolute immunity. We need to get these dangerous migrants out of the country. It's all based on a lie. And then step 7, prepare the end game. What is that end game? It is martial fucking law in the United States of America. You want the roadmap? I've got it. Go to deanblundell.substack.com. I've got an article about the Portland shooting. You can see the roadmap. Shoot first, label the victim a terrorist or a gang member, invoke national security, withhold all fucking evidence, discredit local officials, crack down on protests, expand federal power, repeat, repeat, repeat.
Yeah, this is exactly right. This is the way it happens, and it's not only in one country. These are the same steps that are taken in every autocratic takeover of a democracy. This is an orchestrated event for America, and America's got to decide: are they taking the bait on this? And I understand that people have to go and do vigils and protest, and people have to do that because they just got to get some energy out of them. But I actually think that continuing protests on this issue are just going to land up igniting more conflict. I think we need to turn this into the battle that we really are fighting is against Donald Trump. It's not against these ICE goons. It's not against the immigration policy. It's against the takeover of our country and Donald Trump taking over our country. And for that reason, fighting these ICE goons in our cities, in our liberal cities, which is where they want us to do the fighting. They want the conflict there. They want to do martial law there. Instead of that, we should make sure that we keep our focus on Donald Trump and this administration, because we're getting distracted, we're getting gaslit, all sorts of things are happening. And I know we're running out of time, so we may not even get to the rest of this show, although I can do a quick few stories because there is a lot going on. Should we do? I mean, I think the thing to focus on right now is really Iran. Is probably the thing that I am focused on more than anything else is the.
Are you seeing the scenes coming out of Tehran?
Yeah, there's a huge internet.
They lit up 4 fucking government buildings today, and the mullahs apparently on their way to Moscow as we speak, and the Khomeini getting ready to fucking split. Iran is ready to fall, friends.
Yeah, and again, what we're going to see here is Trump, triumphantly going into Iran with his friend Bibi Netanyahu and saying, "Hey, we ended the regime." That is not. I have no interest in protecting the reputation of the Iranian regime or anything about them. They've been a slight on society and the world, and they're terrible. But this is an arrangement again. This is like we saw Russia allowing Maduro to be taken out of. And there's an article in the Washington Post which buries the lead, by the way, but it talks about how Russia had previously offered asylum to Maduro with the Trump government, the Trump regime. So they were part of the negotiations to get Maduro out of there. They had offered him asylum. They'd offered him their security, Turkey as well. And so now we saw that arrangement was done with Russia, with China. We're just going to replace the figurehead at the top of the food chain of Venezuela. We're going to see a similar thing happen in Iran. I have no doubt this regime is going to fall because it's been teetering on the edge of falling for a long time. Of course, if Russia and China and Israel and America all wanted to fall, it'll fall. But to say that this is, the democratic ideals that are driving him, he's going to say he's attacking the regime because they're killing protesters. I mean, he's just killed a protester. There's no moral high ground that we're going in there with. We're just watching the deck chairs on the autocratic, HMS Autocratic shift around. That's all that's happening.
So can I just let me insert a very similar example as you pointed out. Again, we talked about the process of dehumanizing and bringing martial law into the United States. Just went through that. Let me take you through the same thing when it comes to regime change. Is to Zev's point, the United States, Russia, and China, they're not enemies anymore. Like that old story's gone. And only because Donald Trump desperately wants Vladimir Putin not to put out the fucking Epstein files. Only because, and I'm going to repeat that again, because a fate worse than death to Donnie is people seeing him with young women, specifically on Epstein Island, and Putin has those fucking files, and he's been lording them over his head this entire fucking time. I have that on excellent authority, as does everybody else here. So let's just dial that back. Throw out any idea that you used to have about it's us versus them, it's the East versus the West, the United States, Canada, coalition of the willing. We're beating back the great Russian bear and the Chinese communist machine. No. Donald Trump had to get Putin and Xi's blessing to invade Venezuela.
Oh, yeah, they were part
And
of the
he
deal.
did.
Mm.
Donald Trump and this is a fucking 100% true. Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu have to get, and by the way, Netanyahu's in that group too, have to get permission from Putin and Xi to do anything to Iran.
Of course.
They do. They do.
They'd be
and it's like give and take, right? Like
Yeah.
Putin goes, okay, you can go get Maduro. Yeah, we'll get the Wagner guys out of there. Shoot anybody you want. But make it look like you're chasing down some of our tankers and make it look like,
They killed a few Cubans.
you're coming after us. Like,
Yeah.
just make it look like it. Same with China. China's like, this will not stand. That's a lie. It's a fucking game. It's a ruse. It's a fucking act. And it's exactly what's going on. And even to the point where, I don't know if you've heard of this roving gang of paramilitary guys in Venezuela. They're called the Colectivos. They're going around literally going through people's phone, shooting people that help the United States. Like they're doing that right now. And Donald Trump blessed that. He told Delcy Rodriguez, who's worse than Maduro, you go ahead and do whatever you want down there, but just make it look like I've saved democracy. But go ahead and kill as many people as you want. That's her version of the ICE Gestapo. Putin has the same thing with his little green men and his crowd control assholes in the helmets that go and beat the shit out of old ladies standing on the street corner for saying, "Where's my son? You sent him to war. Where's my son?" They'll just pick her up, take her to jail.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. But where it comes in really handy when you realize that these are all the same dictatorships, this is the same model, it's that these guys are all in on it and they're just horse trading leadership and regimes right now. That's it. That's all it is.
Absolutely. You know, and you don't have to look too far back in Donald Trump's history to see how he worked with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard to build a resort in Baku many years ago, with Ivanka Trump leading the design and build of that. Iranian revolutionary money poured into a Trump hotel and resort in Baku. So you've got, he loves the money. He'll take it from anybody. He sure took it from the Iranians, and laundered it through his hotel, which was never finished in Baku, in Azerbaijan. This is the most corrupt kind of people. These are the most corrupt kind of leaders. And you're absolutely right. This is a group of dictators, a gang of criminals that are busy horse trading national borders, that are saying, hey, Xi, you can take Taiwan, Putin, you take Ukraine, and take Greenland and Venezuela, America, and maybe Canada. We'll throw in Canada. Go take Canada. They don't care how many people die. They don't care about any of the rights that you or I expect to have, and they will continue to make life miserable for everybody until millions of people die in a world war. This is their end goal. And by the way, while they steal all your money,
catch. What's that?
And while they steal all your money,
steal all your money and then nationalize all your services and impregnate your daughter. Yeah. Listen, let me just kind of fold this up for us real quick, because this is really, really, really simple to understand. What you see with this regime change, this is predestined and predetermined. Okay, these guys have been talking about horse trading these countries and regime changes and rare earth minerals and energy of different countries, because that's what they do. That's who they are. That is who they are. That Don is a dictator. Dictator Donnie, absolute dictator. He fucking worships these guys. He wants what they want, which is absolute power. Nobody telling him what to do. Going back to the New York Times interview, they're like, hey, don't you worry about international law, because the only thing that can stop me is my own morality, my own mind. I don't need any laws. I'm good. I'm the best. He truly does believe that, because it's been drilled into his head. And he also fucking respects dictators. He wants authority, and he doesn't care how he gets it. Well, guess what? Same with Xi, same with Putin. And those guys have been at it for a fucking long time. So learning from the masters here, right? Yeah. That's it.
This is happening yesterday. And just one last story before we go, because it makes sense here. Russia yesterday fired this nuclear-capable missile at Ukraine. Normally, that should change.
Oreshnik?
This is a huge weapon. It's not involved in this kind of war. It shouldn't be anywhere near it. But they did it as a sign of protest, I guess, against a vessel they claim was held up in Turkey. But normally, the American outcry on something like this would be huge. That an Oreshnik that can't carry the conventional weapons, can't carry nuclear warheads, is being sent into Ukraine against civilians. This should make the world mad, crazy, opposed to this. This should have the White House going, you can't do that. You can't kill 4 people in Kyiv in a suburban neighborhood because you decided to get upset about something and launch a potential nuclear warhead at a country. You're not meant to do that. Mm-hmm. This is not the way the world works. But instead, you're hearing nothing from the White House.
Because they don't care.
They don't care.
They want it. They this is yeah, dude. I mean, like if Trump's wet dream is Putin rolls over Ukraine, he rolls over Venezuela, Cuba, Panama, Mexico, Greenland, and then Canada. Canada's last. And Xi takes Taiwan and whatever else he fucking wants, and they carve it up. They want a multipolar world where they're in charge. They command oil prices. They set the scene. They set the tone. They control the stock market. They control rare earth. They control every mineral and energy in the eastern and western hemisphere. That's what this is.
It doesn't sound very multipolar to me because they're all in one gang. It just sounds like one polar, one world government by a criminal organization that wants to do whatever it wants to do and screw you, everybody. Basically.
Well, Xi's a fucking criminal and a mobster. What's his nuts Putin, in Russia? He's a criminal and a mobster.
Netanyahu.
And Netanyahu's a criminal and a fucking mobster. And Donald Trump now runs the United States. Guess what Donald Trump's CV says? Criminal, mobster, money launderer for all of those mobsters and money launderers, right? So, this is fucking it. They're there. They're on the precipice of being able to take the West because Donald Trump agrees with how they do things. Donald Trump and the Trump regime are an international criminal syndicate that won the United States election by gosh or by fucking golly. And that is the real fucking problem that America's going to have for a very, very fucking long time because they're making criminality. They're turning pure criminality, death, destruction, dictatorial authoritarianism into policy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to convince you that it's okay. But listen, this is the mob has taken over the United States government, and it's a mob that is supported by other transnational mobs around the world because they've been doing business together for 40 fucking years.
And the message they're sending you is, we'll shoot you in the face if you oppose our policies, if you act on your rights.
Yes, sir.
The only good news we're going to share with you today is that Jack Smith is going to be in a public hearing on Capitol Hill in the coming weeks, or we hope weeks, not just months. This was just announced a couple of hours ago. It's really big news. Jack Smith is, of course, the prosecutor for all these crimes that Donald Trump committed. We're not going to hear him in a public hearing.
Yeah, but is he going to be allowed to talk about the thing that Judge Aileen Cannon, Trump's sock puppet, just blasted and said you can't until February the 24th or something like that?
I don't know. I didn't know about whether he's allowed
I
to
hope
talk
it's
about
after that date. I think it's supposed to be released at the end of February, yeah.
Well, then it'll be after that date.
He hasn't been able to give evidence, right? You want a public hearing. I want to fucking know the details. I don't want him to sit there and go, well, I can't talk about that. But yeah, Trump did it. Fuck that. Give me evidence.
If we had a actual network in this world that provided independent news programming, Jack Smith would have 3 hours on TV at night to go through his case. Go for it, dude. Lay out your best case against Donald Trump for 3 hours. That's what an independent media would be able to do in an independent country with a democratic government. But we don't have that. So, we're going to end up with a hearing, if we're lucky, in front of the Judiciary Committee. Different FiveStack today, but we got most of the stories in, so that's good. You've got to run. Everyone should check out deanblundell.substack.com because it's the place for news, morning news and night. Really great coverage. And today you've got this great analysis about how the dictatorial tendencies of this administration are not just tendencies, they're formula.
Yeah, that's formula strategy. If you go there, I shot 2 more people yesterday. That was in Portland. Story I've got at deanblundell.substack.com. You can literally set your clock to the process and the strategy that they're using right now to paint everybody that doesn't like them, everybody dissents as a terrorist or a gangbanger that needs to be shot to death. So that's there as well. He also suffered a couple of humiliating losses yesterday. Want to encourage everybody to go and read about that. ACA got extended. There's mass defection of GOP MAGA members that voted to keep Obamacare for the next 3 years, which is crazy. war crimes curbed, war powers curbed. Donald Trump Senate actually sent a real message to him yesterday. Don't know if it's going to make it to the through the Senate, but again, another mass defection, and not news that a lot of people want to hear today. But Canada and the EU and the coalition of the willing are preparing for war against Donald Trump and the United States of America should something happen, and it is real. And you can read about it at deanblundell.substack.com, 25% off annual subscriptions today.
In Greenland. Yeah, sorry, 25% off until... I missed that.
For the rest of the year. Yeah. For January, go get that today. Annual subscriptions like $8 a month. Want you to be here. Want to have paid subs. Listen, I'm not lying when I say that if you become a paid subscriber, this gets to the top of the algorithm. So if you want other people to do it, want other people to see it, there's only 2 ways to do it. Please share it. Please like it, and please become a subscriber. Paid or free doesn't matter. But again, paid keeps us absolutely motoring forward and delivering the kind of information that you've come to know and love here on the FiveStack. So much appreciated. When is the next Greatest Heist series out?
I am. It's been so busy. I'm on it. I'm working on it, and it needs to come out because what's going on right now. And I point to this in the new post I put up earlier on today in the Narrative, which is our daily newsletter. There is something strange going on in the repo overnight markets. The banks are getting funded to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars. The limits on that for what the Federal Reserve can loan banks has been completely eliminated. It all has to do with this weird run on silver, which seems to me a lot like what happened in 2008 before the market crashed. Were done by the same bank, done by JP Morgan. Same players. Different decade, it might be leading us to another crash. People really have to keep an eye out for that as we are going to get distracted up the yin-yang for the next couple of days, I think, by Iran, by as much as they can throw at us. So we're not watching what's really going on with this administration. But we are at Narrative. We'll bring you that story. Plus, I'll probably get the next chapter of The Greatest Heist out by the end of this weekend. And that's the show today. We really appreciate you all, because if you fund us through paid subscriptions, we can do much more than we're doing. We know that it's a lot of money that we're asking, but it's also the thing that drives us. It's the thing that allows us to operate on a month-to-month basis, and it's the thing that allows us to grow. We all have, we know that our voices matter, but we can matter a lot more if we're able to be seen more, and that happens when we get paid subscribers. It happens when we can extend what we're doing, when we can build a network, when we can expand the reach of this audience beyond the Substack echo chamber. That's how this stuff gets out, and that's how the truth gets out. So we really appreciate everyone's support, whether it's free or paid. Thank you very much. Hope you have a great weekend. Dean's got to run. I got to go too.
Guys.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.